Hi everyone, welcome to this chair yoga practice. So we're going to start finding something comfortable in our chair. Make sure that our feet can be grounded against the floor or maybe against a cushion or some blocks. You're welcome to lean back in the chair if the chair has a back. If the chair has arms, we could maybe bring our arms down, or we could release the arms down to the side. The arms could also rest in the lap, or you could find anything at all which feels comfortable for you. And we're going to start this practice by maybe softening the eyes, or you're welcome to close the eyes down completely. Maybe starting to bring the awareness to the parts of the body which are connected with something. So that might be the soles of the feet, grounding to the floor or to a block. Maybe the thighs where they're grounded to the chair. Maybe parts of the back if they're connected to the back of the chair. And then bringing the awareness to the hands if they're resting against something. And we can take a couple of deeper breaths if that feels nice. If you need to have a little fidget through the fingers or a little roll through the shoulders, you can. And then we can come to find something which resembles stillness. We don't have to be completely still. If the body needs to fidget or move a bit, that's absolutely okay. And you're welcome to let the awareness rest with that sense of feeling grounded to the chair if that works for you at the moment. Or you're also very welcome to bring the awareness onto the breath. So it might be that you bring the awareness to the nose, the breath as it moves in and out of the body. It might be that you'd like to place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. Maybe follow the hands as they rise and fall. Well, you're welcome to connect with your breath any way which feels good, or let the awareness settle anywhere that feels comfortable. And we can spend a few moments here helping ourselves to settle into the space and the practice. If the hands are resting on the body, we can gently bring them down to rest either by our sides or bring the hands onto our lap. We can let the breath return to something which feels natural, something we don't need to think about too much. We can maybe start to take a couple of rolls through the shoulders. If you want to blink the eyes open if they're closed, then you can. So we're going to come to find some of our seated cat-cows. So maybe coming to sit a little bit more upright, make sure that the feet can be grounded, the hips are grounded. Find some length through the spine. We can bring the hands onto the lap. And then as we inhale, we can start to lift through the chest, maybe look up towards the ceiling in front. And then exhale, start to tuck the chin and round through the spine. So inhaling to lift through the chest, looking up slightly. And exhale to tuck the chin, really draw the spine back between the shoulder blades. Inhaling to lift. Exhaling to round. Let's take a couple more of these here. And if this feels nice, you're very welcome to stay with this variation. Or we could start to maybe add some arm movements here. So when we next come to inhale and lift, maybe draw the arms back and out to the side. So really stretching through the front of the body. Exhale, tuck the chin round through the spine, reach the arms forward. So we're stretching through the upper back. So inhale, lifting, drawing the arms back. Exhale, rounding through the spine, tucking the chin, reaching the arms forwards. So using your whole breath, your full inhale, and your full exhale, finding your pace, finding your rhythm. The arm movements can be as big or as small as you like. You're also welcome to keep hands on the legs if that feels better. Let's take a couple more wherever you are, whichever movements you're taking. Let's maybe take one final inhale and exhale. And then inhale, we can all come back to meet in our seated mountain pose. Have a little roll through the shoulders, adjust any clothes. Take a breath. So coming to find our seated mountain pose, grounding through the feet. We want to make sure our hips can feel nice and grounded here. And we can release the hands either down to the side or hands can come to rest on the lap. We're going to do a little bit of leg strengthening here. So really listen to the legs, see how they're feeling. We're going to ground through the left foot. Start to lift the right leg. So about 50% of the way that we can. So we're not lifting it as high as we can. We're lifting it about 50% of the way. And maybe flex the foot here if that feels good. And we can take a couple of breaths. And then use our exhale to gently lower the foot down, give the leg a little bit of a rub. And then we're going to lift the leg again, this time maybe 75% of the way. So make sure we're nice and grounded. Lifting the leg that little bit higher if it feels comfortable. Again, you're welcome to flex the foot. Or to make this a bit more active, we can maybe point the toe and flex the foot a couple of times. See how this feels. And then exhale, lower the leg down to the floor. Give the leg a little bit of a rub. And now we're going to lift that leg as high as we possibly can. So really grounding through the sit bones. Inhale, lifting the leg. Again, you're welcome to flex the foot if that feels nice. Remembering to breathe. Taking a couple of breaths. And then let's lower the leg down. Give the full leg a nice rub. Have a little shake through the hips if we need to. Have a little rock through the ankles. And we're going to come and find that on the other side. So this time grounding through the right foot. We can start to lift the left leg about 50% of the way. Again, if you want to flex into the foot, you can. Let's take a few breaths here. And exhale, gently lower that foot down. Give the leg a little bit of a rub if it needs it. And now we can come to find 75% of the way. So lifting that leg a little bit higher. Again, option to flex the foot, or if you want to find that more sort of active movements of pointing the toes and flexing the foot, you can. Notice where you maybe feel this on the leg as you point and flex the toes. Let's take another breath here. And then we can exhale, lower the leg down, give the leg a little bit of a rub. And now we're going to lift that leg as high as we possibly can. So inhale, lifting the leg nice and high. Again, maybe flexing into that foot if that feels good. Taking a breath. Exhale, lower the leg down. Give the leg a bit of a rub. Maybe give the ankles and the knees a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to come and do this with both legs. So if you want to lean back in the chair for this, that's absolutely fine. It makes it a little bit kinder on the legs, perhaps. So we're going to start by lifting both legs 50% of the way, so about halfway, maybe flexing the feet here if that's nice. Hands could rest on the lap, or we could reach the arms down by our sides, up to you. Let's take a breath or two here. Exhale, lower the legs down, give both legs a little bit of a rub. Then we're going to come again to our 75% of the way, so grounding through the sit bones, finding length, lifting both legs, and maybe taking that more active variation here, so flexing the feet and pointing the toes. If that's not working for you today, that's absolutely fine. You can let the feet be natural. Let's take another breath here. And then exhale, release the feet down, give the legs a little bit of a rub. And now we're going to come to find 100% of the way. So make sure that we're nice and grounded here. We're going to lift both legs as high as we can, flexing the feet. Hands can stay bound by the sides. Or if you want to, we could reach the arms up towards the ceiling. So a seated variation of our downward facing dog or boat pose. Really reaching out through the body. It's an intense pose, this, so listen to the body. Exhale, release both hands, release both feet. Give the legs a bit of a rub. Give the ankles and the knees a bit of a shake, maybe a roll through the shoulders. And then let's come back to find our mountain pose. We're going to come to find a little bit of a warrior flow. So to come into our warrior, we can kind of sit maybe diagonally on the chair. The leg closest to the back of the chair is facing out to the side. Make sure that front foot can be nice and grounded. The other foot can be maybe at a right angle. If it's a bit too intense, we could always bring it closer. So we can either take that foot out to a right angle. If you wanted to, we could also extend the leg, maybe coming to the heel. Or if you want something a little bit more intense for the hips, we can rearrange and extend that leg behind us. So we're coming to a more traditional looking warrior stance. So only take this option if this feels really comfortable for this hip. I'd really recommend either the right angle or the leg extended. It's completely up to you. I'm going to take the right angle for this side. And then we're going to find length through our spine. Extend the arms out at shoulder height and take the gaze in the same direction as that front leg. If this is a bit much for the back shoulder, we can always bring that hand to our hip if that feels nicer. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here in our seated warrior. We can then come to find our reverse warrior. So let's hinge the body forward, flip the front palm, inhale, lift through the chest, lift the top arm. The back arm can stay on the back hip. It could drop behind you, or we can take it to wrap around the spine. So we're really lifting through the chest. Imagine there's a string sort of coming from the sternum, pulling us up, but also finding length through the body. Taking a breath. And then we're going to exhale, hinge the body forward, bring that front arm to rest on that front leg, bring the top hand onto the hip, roll that top shoulder back. So we're really opening through the body. The gaze could come straight out in front, or you could look up towards the ceiling if that's nice for the neck. The back hand can stay on the hip, or if you wanted to, we could reach that arm up towards the ceiling perhaps. Or maybe take the arm out over the ear if that feels okay for the shoulder. Find what feels comfortable for you. Mine actually feels better on my hip, so I'm going to take this variation. Remembering to breathe. Then we're going to ground through the feet. Inhale, lifting the body up, coming back to find our warrior. Again, both arms can extend, or we can take one hand onto the hip at the back. Let's take a breath here. And then exhale, bring the hands down. We're going to come back to center. Have a little roll through the shoulders. Take any movements which would feel nice. Come back to find our mountain pose for a moment. And then we can come and find this little warrior flow on the other side. So turning to face the other direction, so maybe diagonally on the chair. So again, that leg closest to the back of the chair is out to the side, toes pointing away. The other foot can come to a right angle. If it feels better for the hip to come in a little bit, please do. We've also got that variation of leg extended, heel to the floor. If you want to take that slightly more traditional warrior, you can, but please make sure that this feels okay for the hip. So I think on this side, I'm going to take the leg extended, coming to the heel. So again, we can extend the arms out, taking the gaze down through the front arm. If it feels better for the back arm, we can always bring it to the hip. So listening to the body, finding what feels right for you. Taking a breath or two here. And then we're going to come to find our reverse warrior. So leaning forward slightly, flipping the front hand. Inhale to lift, reaching the arm up towards the ceiling. The back hand could stay on the hip. It could reach towards the floor, or it could wrap around the back. Taking a couple of breaths here. On our next exhale, we're going to bring that front arm to rest on the front foot. Bring the top hand to the hip, roll that top shoulder back so we're really opening out through the chest. The hand could stay on the hip, or if it feels nice, you're welcome to reach the arm up towards the ceiling. It could come out over the ear towards the front of the body. Really find what variation feels nice for you. And let's take a couple of breaths here. Then ground through the feet. We're going to inhale, lift the body back up to our warrior. Again, both arms could be extended, or we can extend one arm. Take a breath. Then exhale, bring the hands down. Let's come back around to center. Ground through the feet. Have a little roll of the shoulders. Find something which feels comfy. We can release the hands down towards the floor. Come to find our mountain pose. Take a breath. We're going to come to find our seated pigeon variation. So a few options here with the legs. The most similar to pigeon is to bring the ankle up onto the opposite knee and take this posture here. If this is a little bit too intense for the hip or there's any knee pain, then another option is to hook the toes behind the foot and let that knee drop out to the side. Or we can bring that foot out to the side and drop the knee out. It doesn't quite give the same intensity, but it's a variation if the other one causes pain or isn't comfortable. So find what feels best for you. We're going to ground through the other foot. We can gently hold the foot and the knee with the hands. We're not forcing or pulling, it's there more as a support. And if upright feels nice, we can stay here. Or if you want to add a little bit of intensity, we can gently start to fold the body forward. So we might start to feel this a little bit more in the hip that's lifted. And we can find somewhere that feels nice, and we can start to take a couple of breaths here. Let's gently lift the body back to upright. We can use the hands to help release the foot. Have a little roll through the shoulders, a little wriggle through the legs, a rub of the hip if that helps. And then let's come to find this on the other side. So again, you've got the option up on the knee. We could hook the foot around, let the knee fall out, or take the knee out to the side, let the knee fall out to one side. Take whichever variation feels nice for you. If the foot is lifted up on the knee, we can start to maybe gently hold the foot in the knee. Again, we're not forcing or pulling, it's there for support. We can find some length through our spine. And if this feels like a good stretch for us, we can stay here. If you want to, we could come to find our forward fold. Find something which feels comfortable. Then we can start to release the body down. We can take a few breaths here, finding our seated pigeon. Let's inhale, start to lift through the body. We can use the hands to gently lift the foot down. Maybe take a little roll through the shoulders, have a little wriggle through the hips, and then come to settle in our mountain pose. Take a breath. It's time to come to find our final rest. So, coming to lean back in the chair, you can find something which feels comfortable. If you need to add a cushion or support for the back, you can. Make sure that the legs feel comfortable. We can bring the hands to rest in the lap. You're welcome to bring One hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, maybe both hands on your belly. Arms could also release down to the sides. Find something which feels comfortable. And we can start to soften the eyes or close the eyes down completely. We can maybe take a couple of slightly deeper breaths. Use our exhale to maybe sink down into the chair. And know that for the next few moments, there is nowhere else that you need to be. There's nothing that you need to do. This time has been set aside for you to rest. Gently bringing the awareness back to the space. You can maybe start to take a couple of slightly deeper breaths. Maybe wriggle through the fingers. Maybe start to take some circles with the wrists and the ankles. If it would feel good, we could maybe extend the legs, reach the arms out to the side or up overhead. Maybe taking a full body stretch. The yawn happens. You can let it. Let's come to find a comfortable seat then. Hands can rest in the lap. We could maybe bring hands to prayer or bring hands to heart. Let's take a moment here to thank our bodies for the practice, to thank ourselves for this rest, and also to offer ourselves any kind words that we might need to hear at the moment. And that concludes our practice today. So gently blinking the eyes open, taking any stretches that would feel good, any movements. And thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this practice.